Hello, welcome to All India Bakchod. Come on, say hello.
Hello.
Welcome to episode 22.
Yes, welcome. मेरे को क्यों बोल रहा है? हम ही तो करते हैं episode.
Yes,
Anyway.
I'm welcoming you into
अच्छा.
my world. Come on.
Oh my God, yes. The world of smell and goo. Yes. Can't wait to be there.
So, episode 22, today is a very fascinating episode. Today is a special interview guest episode.
With Usha Uthup.
With Usha Uthup.
Now let's tell our fans how they got it.
Now, a lot of people don't know who Usha Uthup is.
Yeah, a lot of the younger kids wouldn't know.
They wouldn't know.
might identify her from her appearance.
Yeah.
But they might not know her songs or her music.
The only song they'll know is Darling.
Darling, yeah.
Whereas a lot of people don't know Usha Uthup is one of our most legendary singers, has been around for decades.
44 years.
44 years. But most importantly, she's one of the most fun people I have met from the film and the performing arts industry. She was at a show, actually, funnily enough. She was at a show at Blue Frog.
Yeah,
and nobody at Blue Frog recognized her, by the way.
Hilarious.
I don't think anybody recognized her. We were at Blue Frog and I was doing a show, and the first thing I did was addressed that Usha Uthup is in the room, and I told her how similar she looks to me. It is so sad. Like I am Usha Uthup's celebrity doppelganger.
Yeah, like if you put a bindi on your forehead, you can totally pull that off.
Bappi Lahiri, I will totally be exactly like
Ouch.
Usha Uthup. I'm just kidding. Actually, I made this joke as well.
Yeah, on stage.
I was doing a joke about something with the word Tawayaf in it, and Usha Uthup said, nobody has called me a Tawayaf. And I was just like, that's a good thing. No, why are you saying that? She's like, no, Bappi, except Bappida, nobody called me a Tawayaf. And then I made some joke about her and Bappida. And she took it very well because she's a super,
man.
Yeah.
It was very interesting. So first thing, Tanmay went to the show and he was like, oh shit, Usha Uthup's in the audience. And we have this WhatsApp group, AIB WhatsApp group. So he messages saying, dude, Usha Uthup's in the audience. So I'm just like, it's so sad that my first reaction is, "Arey podcast ke liye pooch." Like, it's so sad that our life has come to this.
Previously, some of you might remember we made Usha Uthup jokes about what is the
Chappan
joke?
Tikli.
Something with Chappan Tikli. The joke was.
Which the sad bit is, I don't even remember what the joke was, but the people who listen to the podcast remember. So every time I updated photographs saying we're talking to Usha ma'am, and they're like Chappan
Tikli. We don't know what the joke was. But before we get into the interview, let's do some quick updates. AIB 365, our sketch show, is still live on YouTube.
Yes.
One of the videos actually went viral, or I don't know what.
I don't know how they define viral. But the news media is saying viral.
Viral, yeah.
So I will take it as viral.
The video was called "It's Your Fault." It starred Juhi Pandey and Kalki on it.
Yeah.
And it was a satire on victim blaming. So if you haven't seen it, please go check it out. Please
check it out. Yeah. If the Huffington Post likes it.
Yes, true. Huffington Post, a Hollywood Reporter.
It was very bizarre. It's strange because we just did it big like we did it, and you don't sort of expect something to sort of reach so many people. So it's been very fascinating for us, frankly.
We are actually recording this in another room while Juhi Pandey is talking to Barkha Dutt on NDTV right now.
It's very bizarre.
It's very bizarre how people...
It's great and it's sad at the same time because you suddenly realize the enormity of the situation where so many women are being able to it. And it's weird. It's bittersweet. Anyway, moving on to the shows, guys. Just going to update you. On this Thursday in Mumbai, we're doing the NSS Not So Sweet Nights. Cadbury Bonville Not So Sweet Nights.
Yeah, with Raghu Dikshit.
Yeah, Raghu Dikshit Project is a great band. I'm sure you're fans of Raghu Dikshit. He's absolutely fascinating. So them and Raghu Dikshit Project and AIB.
All India Bakchod.
Yeah.
With Bakchod.
Yeah, it's so sad that, like these are people who we have admired, listened to their music, gone for their gigs, and being on the same stage as them feels so surreal.
Stuck with us. It's so sad.
I feel bad that they have to share the green room with us. Like, they must be like thinking about the deep music, and we are like, hey, baad wala joke maar. Like, it's this stupid shit. So come for that. Also, October, we're doing October 11th is the next sex show at Canvas Laugh Factory. So come for that.
Being Gandu t-shirts still available on
online
/Bakchod and Fuck Off Bro t-shirts.
Yeah.
Apart from this, what else? Is there anything else?
Anything else? No, I just, before we move into the Usha ma'am's interview, I just want to tell you this quick incident, which is why I thought it was great. We went to meet Usha ma'am in the morning, and, she was killing the sound check. Like, she was singing Skyfall and stuff, and it was killer. And she was owning the stage. And then, me and Tanmay went ahead, and she was supposed to walk down from the Blue Frog stage. And you see somebody own the stage that properly. And then, she called out to you saying, can you help me down the stairs?
Yeah.
And then suddenly to see somebody going from like killing the stage and the voice is spectacular you know, suddenly the age hits you, which you
Yeah.
don't realize when somebody's on stage.
Yeah.
So I thought it was very like, it was that great moment of like, you know, so much power and so much vulnerability. It felt really sweet. We sadly only got 30 minutes though. I hope you guys enjoy the conversation. We had a lot of fun.
Here's Usha Uttup. Hi, ma'am.
Hi, that sounds so sober coming from you. Hi, ma'am. Everybody calls me Didi, so you
Correct.
could call me Didi.
You know who else is called Didi, right?
Yeah, but you know, I was the original. I started before her, so
Did you feel
People-
bad that she stole your thunder after?
she never stole my thunder.
No.
Can you
because
not-
of the name.
No
No,
one
no, no, no.
steals Usha Uttup's thunder. Did you not just see her on stage? Last night I was performing here and Usha ma'am was in the audience and halfway through
Didi, Usha Didi.
Usha Didi was in the audience and halfway through my joke she interrupted and she decided to contribute to my act. And I turned into such a comedian at that point. I was like, no, this is my show. This is my show. I'm so
But
sorry I did that.
No, I loved it. I loved it because everything when it's spontaneous, it just comes from
it
the
was-
heart. It's so
it
beautiful.
It really made my set actually. The rest
Yeah.
of the audience, I was kind of dying for about 10 minutes. And
But it
then,
was really lovely. But you know, I think you, what do you say, missed the trees for the woods yesterday?
Yeah, it's
when I
possible.
told you that. Yeah, not possible, it was.
It was, yes, it was.
Because when I said that about the tawaif, you
yeah.
never understood
yeah,
what I said.
I have no idea.
Idiot.
Yeah, because in my head, all I want to do is think of the next joke. And think of the next
So, but
joke.
then I was giving you a lead into that. Such a beautiful thing. See, what happens is that when people say tawaif, you know, like you
Yeah,
already said.
yeah.
I mean, you didn't say that, but I'm telling you, people have this misconception that
Yes, they do.
tawaif means
Yes,
is
they do.
only bed and sex
Yeah,
and whatnot.
yeah.
But it's really not because look at me, man. What? Yeah, I'm still trying to seduce my
but
husband.
This is my bad because no young people listen
No.
to the whole sentence. We are halfway jumping to a conclusion
How
halfway through the
lovely.
next sentence.
We have zero
so,
attention span.
So what I wanted to say actually was that, you know, nobody's ever called me a tawaif, which is so sad in a nice way. Come
now
on,
this
let's
is
go.
very awkward for us because we don't know how to respond to this statement.
Because
see-
you have a misconception.
Yes,
You see, that tawaif means only one particular thing.
Yeah.
Like in English, I mean, people think that cabaret means only taking
Yes.
your clothes off.
Yes.
But it's not because Frank Sinatra did cabaret, Elvis
Yeah.
Presley did cabaret, and
In
Usha
fact-
Uttup does cabaret. What I find.
Cabaret is like massive.
Is a floor
it's-
show.
Yeah, it's
Is a floor show where
Yeah.
you come, like you could do cabaret because you would be referred to as cabaret. So people have these misconceptions, and that's what I love to, you know, wipe away.
Does it bother you that people have these misconceptions, like especially younger people nowadays,
Mm.
right? Where everything is like me, for example.
Like hypersexualized. I
Yeah,
think,
every-
almost.
Yeah, no, it doesn't upset me. I mean, I think you are the future of our country, really. And I think the youth is where it's at. And I think it's absolutely marvelous that all of you, or rather the whole of India actually, is opening up to stand-up comedian. Because I used to do this I still do it as part of my act, part of my cabaret, part of my floor show is stand up, but I weave it in with the
Correct.
music. And you know, I'm not quite sure whether I'm happy with all the F words and this and that and the other. But actually, there is a place and time for everything. And I suppose people who come here to listen to you must accept that. Or must know that they are coming in over here. Like you go to a striptease place, you can't be moralistic and say, hey, what's
Yeah.
this happening? Then why did you come?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the way I look
She's
at
the
it.
first Didi to have accepted a joke in the proper form.
Absolutely.
And we're not in jail. That's good to know.
How sweet is that?
I was very curious because, and also I'm guessing a lot of our listeners are very young.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to fathom what it must be like in the 60s when you started, doing live shows.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm just trying to I couldn't grasp socialist India. How were clubs then? And if you look at the kind of audiences that come in now, how have
Yeah.
these sort of live club spaces sort of evolved?
It's totally different. I mean, when I say different, it's different and yet it's not, okay? Because in 1969, when I started singing, it was at that time just the prerogative, the so-called Anglo-Indian, to perform in nightclubs with their black sizzling numbers. I mean,
Correct.
their cleavage and everything intact.
Correct.
And with the blonde wig, and that typical typecast of how a cabaret artist should look or how a nightclub singer should look. And there I was coming in with a sari, looking much the same I do now, except a couple of lots of grey hairs more and a couple of kilos extra. But otherwise, essentially, I'm just the same from within. And I think it was the time that I came on which really was luck for me, because I came in at a time when it was the privilege or the prerogative of only the male who would come to a nightclub. And then when I came in on the scene, I always say this, but I say it as a joke, but I also mean it, that all the women in my audiences are my best friends, because when they knew or when they saw me, and with a body and a face like mine, that I'm no danger to their husbands. So, I mean, you know what I mean. It wasn't like I wasn't like a threatening kind of person with this beautiful body and figure and everything, and just sex and glamour oozing. I was like the girl next door, and I came on and sang the songs that they were all singing. You see, so it just made for a fantastic ambience, and it just so happened that the time was just right, and soon it became a family place to go to, the nightclub.
Correct.
And men started bringing in their women because, the girls didn't feel threatened by Usha Uthup. When I say I'm saying it very clinically, not as me myself, but as seeing it from outside the chalk circle, and seeing that most men felt comfortable because their wives were comfortable, or their mothers or their daughters were comfortable. So in 1969, when that was the live scene, it became absolutely marvelous to have somebody or some place to go to where they didn't have to give so many explanations, why they were going and, why the men were going to a nightclub. Because it was like family entertainment. And that's what really changed the whole thing and wiped off the stigma that used to be attached to nightclubbing in those days.
If anyone's seen you live on stage, you know how as comedians, when you're up on stage and you're making the joke and you're getting the laugh, like it's the most alpha male you are at that moment. Whenever I see you on stage, I imagine you to be the most alpha female anyone can be.
How lovely.
Right?
Yeah, that's so amazing.
You're like rocking.
Uri baapre. Yeah.
So from that context, is it almost that, were we almost more liberal back then, quote unquote, given the fact that families used to come in, then there used to be less stigma?
Absolutely. And then it kind of, everything started to change, and I was getting contracts. In those days, there was no internet and, no television. And so people really didn't know, how do you put this off? Yeah, that's good. Yeah, people really started changing. And the most amazing thing was that everybody heard about me only by word of mouth. And then the print media, which would write, this new chick is happening kind of thing with the sari and coming in and singing Fever and, singing Jambalaya and all these English songs. People heard about me, and I was getting contracts over contract offers, which was really wonderful. I started
like
in
for
Madras.
albums and stuff.
No, contracts
Like
to
for
sing.
live. Oh, for live.
I'm a 100% live artist, 100%. And while the rest of the country was listening probably to film music, which they only heard through either going to the film or on the radio. There was no television. Can you imagine a life without television? But I'm so lucky and so privileged to be with you guys because I live to tell the tale. I've been through it all. And it's so beautiful to say that when I got this offer from after Madras to go to another place in Madras called the Golden Bowl, then I got an offer to sing at the Little Hut here in Ritz Hotel. It was a nice, lovely nightclub over here. And I sang with some of the best musicians, really. And from here, I got an offer to sing in Calcutta. And in Trinkas, that's where I went and started singing in 1969.
Correct.
And in those days it was so funny when you sang in Calcutta, you had to go to Lal Bazaar, that was the police headquarters, and fill in a form, and you had to get a license to sing. So you had to go to get a license.
Correct.
And one of the clauses in that was that it says, "I will not solicit." Whoa, wasn't that rocky? Yeah. And you couldn't sit at and it says, "I will not sit at the tables at the customers' tables after the show.
But they, at that point, the authorities, which happens even now, where the general listing is, if it's a bar and someone's singing,
Yeah.
then automatically that's equal to promiscuity.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
it's crazy because of the word cabaret. Don't ever forget
Correct.
that.
Correct.
And then they found this person draped in 6 meters of clothes and, long and looking like me. Crazy. But I still had to sign that. And the biggest scandal that I had, I married my husband. He was there in the audience in the first night, like a Hindi movie. And after the show.
Was it love at first sight?
Oh, it was superb. Love, lust, everything
Do you
together.
remember what you were singing?
Yeah, I did my whole set, and I remember what my husband said. And people ask me, how come you still remember what your husband says after 40 years of being married? I say he speaks so little, 40 lines, and I remember it very well because I remember so much, about 400 songs or 700 songs, so it's fine. But he said to me after the show, actually, you were super tonight. Oh, baapre, just died 100 dead. And in our relationship, in any case, I was the one, the romantic, compulsive romantic and optimist like I am. I'm the one who says, touch me, hold me, love me, kiss me. Yeah. And he would look at me and say, don't be silly. Complete man. But yeah, crazy.
Ma'am, one of my most recent memories of you was the year that you won Filmfare. I was backstage because I was one of the writers of the main show.
What are you saying?
Yeah, I was right backstage and we were watching the whole thing on the monitor.
What are you saying?
Yeah, and
I am so happy to meet with you.
It was
because
one of the most touching moments on Indian television for really long. What was that like?
was just quite unbelievable because you can imagine I had already been, I've been singing now as many as 42 years now at the time when I got the award. And so many of my songs were already nominated, but
yeah.
I never ever got an award. And I could have been so frustrated and miserable, but I never was because I'm a compulsive optimist. I'm always looking for a better moment and to turn all my limitations and my weaknesses into my strengths. That's always been my motto. And truly, never having won an important award could have brought me down so badly, but it didn't. And so whatever I get, my biggest award has always been my audiences, really. Without my audiences, how
That's
could I
not
survive?
a cliche at all, man.
No, it's not. It really isn't, especially when it comes from me, because that's the truth. Truly, I had absolutely no awards like this. And somehow or the other, these awards just kept evading me. Had this amazing fine art it became to avoid Usha Uthup, that kind of thing. So when I did get it, and when I went to the Filmfare Awards that year, I just came to Bombay just because I wanted to be a part of this. I knew I was nominated. I was told by Jitesh that I was nominated. I was so excited. And I said, no matter what happens, I'm going to feel it at least, feel the excitement. And that's how I came. And truly, it was watertight. Truly. The award itself. People think that, much of this you can tell or you can... I don't want to use the word buy or whatever, but they do say. But Filmfare is really
No, it's not.
watertight.
It's not. There's like a whole system in place, and it's very difficult. Ma'am, you were also a judge on a reality show.
Yes.
What was
Many.
that like? Tell me some fun stories from there.
Oh, it's amazing. Actually, I'm one of those really biased people.
Okay.
No, not really. Like if you were in a show.
Yeah.
If you were in a reality show, I would be biased towards you because, see, I know you personally and I come to your show and I feel, but I'm also very, very genuine and honest. You can be that. You can be biased and you can be 100%, above board.
I was one of the producers on like television shows. I used to produce for India's Got Talent, and I used to meet kids and I used to meet artists from all over the country. And
Just to interrupt you, sorry, can you get me to be on India's Got Talent? Not as a contestant, but as a judge. I was supposed to have been. There was Baman Irani and myself who were the first choice of Siddharth Basu, who wanted us to do this. And unfortunately, it became totally Bollywood after that.
But
I
ma'am,
can-
you're on Doordarshan, and the thing with Doordarshan is you can always say that it has way more reach because it
Yes,
reaches
of
a lot more
course.
people.
100%. Bharat Ki Shan, for which I am.
Here.
Yeah, as a judge, you were saying something that you meet so many.
I meet so
kids,
many
yeah.
kids and artists, and I felt like when I was producing, I felt a bit like the devil because my aim was constantly to see how much more drama I can add
TRP,
to for the
cries, tears,
how much more how much more emotion can I nichod a little like a sponge?
Of course. But that's with me. I'm one of the only artists or actors who doesn't need glycerine. I've always even in my films, whichever I've acted in, I can really cry. I mean, it's true because it really touches me. But reality shows on the whole. I think it's the most fantastic thing that happened in India because especially where music is concerned, there was a time for so many years that our land of crore people had only 4 singers. I mean, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Crazy, huh? Lata Mangeshkar, Asha Bhosle. I mean, bless them. They're really fantastic singers and nobody to touch them. But hey, there's nobody to sing like Arijit today.
Yeah.
Or there's nobody to sing like Sonu. There's nobody to sing like Shreya, Sunidhi, everybody. But how would we know all these things unless it's exposed? And the reality shows have given real amazing platforms to talent.
But do you also start crying if like the singer's really bad? Like, do you also like after
Is that
a point,
emotion also genuine, man?
like, if you have it a day, like I'm just trying to imagine, like sometimes these colleges call us to say judge a stand-up contest, and sometimes the jokes are really bad,
Really
and you
bad,
have to
yeah.
sit through it, but you still have to be positive because you have to reinforce that you. So how do you manage that balance? Like,
No, you know what happens to me? Actually, the truth is, when something is really bad, I mean, what makes me angry, what makes me really angry is why would anybody allow them past the audition? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Ma'am, as a producer, let me tell you that every episode there needs to be a graph.
Correct.
I need the audience to laugh for half the show
Correct.
and I need them to cry for the rest of the
Correct.
show.
Oh,
Which is
wow.
why the bad contestants are let through.
Yes, such a
And plus, when we
devil.
have judges like you who are
Yeah.
already pretty entertaining
Yeah.
on your own, combined with that, it's
That's
the
too
best
good.
combination.
Absolutely. I never thought of that actually. But your question is so valid. Does it make you cry? You know what really makes me cry, or besides the fact that when someone is really, the talent is unbelievably, huge. When it makes me cry to think that it's so sad that the whole country is going to be laughing at them and not with them. That's why it's so important when I come for your show that I can laugh with you and not at you.
Yeah, but ma'am, if I start telling jokes and nobody else is laughing except you, then I think you might be laughing at me.
That'd be like Navjot Singh Sidhu. Then.
I think it happened yesterday. There were points where only she was laughing and nobody else was laughing. I was just like, I feel like I have a special bond with her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, ma'am, one question which I think everybody wants to know, especially the younger lot. What is with the bindis?
What's with the bindis? See, actually, I come from a very middle class upbringing. I was born and brought up in Bombay, married into Kerala, Malayali, but I met him in Calcutta. And, being born and brought up in a South Indian traditional home, we always put a bindi, what we used to call kungumam. Okay? And in those days, it was a little small bottle like that with a stick. And, usually we used a matchstick and put a small dot. And then one day when I was using something called ITEX. Can you say ITEX?
ITEX.
Correct. You have to say it like
Correct.
that. Correct.
I said it
That's all.
correctly.
It's a little paste, okay? A red paste which you put
correct.
on your... Correct.
Correct.
Illada. Correct.
Sorry.
Correct.
Nice,
to
nice.
dip your finger in that and then make a thing. And then, if one side was not correct, so I made it a little bigger and a little bigger. And it looked good on me. So that's how it became such a big one.
And
Then slowly I started putting different type of scripts, which I think Indian scripts are so beautiful. Like this is a Bangla one, which says K for Kolkata. And also
okay.
K for comedy.
High five!
What
But
do
at
you
what
think?
point did you realize that this has become your thing now?
Actually,
now
it's not I didn't make it my thing. People
media made it the thing?
Yeah, no, in the airports, the security guard, they tell me, आज क्या हुआ? बिंदी नहीं पहना तू? I promise you. And the girls who say, frisk you inside, they say, आज आप नहीं पहने अच्छा वाला बिंदी. And I say, भूल गए. Then I have to open my bag out. At any given point of time, you'll find in my bag lots of bindis like this, which I keep putting on. And truly, it's they who made it. Now I'm caught in this web. Nobody
Now you have
wants
to keep up
see
with
me.
the image.
और क्या? Nobody wants to see me like that. Imagine now if I had to wear shorts or something. Oh God, what's that?
I think if at any point Didi felt like, okay, now it's been really long, I haven't made like a media appearance. Like if you need any attention at any point, just keep making the bindi bigger and bigger until it's just this massive thing on
Shut
your
up.
forehead.
I suppose it grew.
Then you can not just write like one, you can write like whole paragraphs. And
But this is actually, I think, a media generated thing. Like this happens with Tanmay a lot. Like because he's big, so it will be like if like suddenly you lose a ton of weight tomorrow, people will be like, what happened to you? Why are you suddenly so thin? Like they have to
it's
make
gonna
it your
happen.
thing.
My
Yeah.
mother's gonna disown me.
Why?
But because she likes me all fluffy and puffed
Yeah,
up.
Of course, everybody loves you just the way you are. I think life is not worth living if you have to, conform to other people's tastes. Really.
I want to ask you another question. Now, this is something. This was a link when I was just going through some material about. In 1983, this was in the New York Times, which is a minister. Apparently, some trade union
Yeah.
minister filed a case against you for vulgarity or something.
No,
like
no,
that.
not filed a case. He banned me. He actually said that I was Aposhangskriti, which means I'm anti-culture, anti-Bengali culture, and he didn't allow me to sing in the government halls. So when
Ma'am, because Bengali culture involves no working and you are hardworking. So you are against
working for
Bengali
40
culture.
years.
Yes.
44 years.
How can this is against Bengali culture even today?
Yeah, it's mean. So, but then, when I went and saw the minister and I said, oh, I cried. Why did you do this to me? Then he said, because you're decadent, this, that, and the other. And you know which song it was for?
No.
Koi yahan aa nache,
Oh,
nache.
okay.
And then I told him, who made you the Rakhwala of Bengali culture? And he said, you just keep standing there now and I'm going to ban you and there's no way you're going to you can do what you want, take me to court. So I took him to court.
And then
I
you
won the
filed a
case.
definition.
Then you won it.
Also, but I filed a writ petition against the government for doing this. And of course, Jyoti Babu was marvelous. He said, I have nothing against Usha Uthup. She's done so many shows for me, blah, blah, blah. And everybody stood by me, except this one lone minister. And then he had to fight the case alone. So this happened in the February, I think, and by May, we had the judgment by Justice Barua, and I won the case. But my father said to me, don't now forget about the defamation case, and, since you've won it on principle of fundamental rights. It's fine, so I won it. Whoa.
That's crazy, right? Can you imagine, like, because this is such a debate right now amongst like even comedians and even otherwise saying, freedom of speech as a point of view in terms of how much can you offend? Because it always seems like.
But then I wasn't offensive at all, and I never am. And let me tell you, it was funny because the person who took Shubroto Roy Chowdhury, the famous lawyer who fought my case, he brought out a point. He said, if the film Disco Dancer is passed by the censors, then how can something that is contained within that
it be
have
offensive?
any- yeah. Or how can, it's not possible. So there were a lot of things which were brought out, and it really made me think, what is it? Maybe there was something about me that offended this man. But then, hey, actually, the way I dress and the way I carry myself and everything, I don't think it's offensive in any way. And that kind of really upset me. But it gave me a lot of time to introspect and, figure out. Like, I'm sure if any of you say that people feel offended, right, by the things that you say. What you have in your shall I say, your advantage is that you are performing at a given place. Right.
Correct.
And people have the choice to come or not to come.
Yeah.
To be there with you or not to be there with you. To listen or not to listen. That's their privilege and their fundamental right. If they come here and they don't like what's happening with you, they should go out. Why would they point fingers at you and say what you're doing is wrong?
It feels like, in this country, this is something that famous comedian Ricky Gervais said. He feels like if someone's offended, they feel like because they're offended, they are right.
Exactly. It's not so.
Yeah.
I mean, I can feel offended by certain words that you guys use or...
Which
certain-
ones, ma'am? Which
No,
ones?
I don't say. Panties and...
You're offended by the word panties?
yeah.
We got to wrap up.
Yeah.
Okay, what?
No, I'm not. I'm offended by the word panties. Not not in this, not the way we're talking now, but in front of so many people. But then I'm not offended, I'm just embarrassed, or I'm just shy, you know what I mean? So I don't think I'm wrong in feeling that, but I don't feel it's right to tell you to stop saying it, because I mean, you have the right to do it. If it's upsetting me so much, I should just quietly, discreetly go out without making a big scene about it. Because you're not doing it to offend one particular person or a sect of people that you talk. This is what your act is. If people don't, and you're talking about who somebody said this and so on. I'm telling you, I'm living and I'm telling you right in front of you that you have a right to say what you want to. And if the people who come in over here feel offended, it's sad. I mean,
you
it's
should
sad.
run the
go.
country.
Yes.
Do that. Give me a chance.
Done.
We will
You must run the country.
Yeah, but before that, give me this India's Got Talent, okay? You know who's
Ma'am,
the
I
person?
feel like there are a few more years for you to nurture your talent before you can
Shut
make
up,
it
you
to that
sound like my son. You know, my son, Sunny, he tells me after a great show, 100,000 people clapping for me and all, he says, Mom, you might just make it. Sala. No, but truly I say, you know who I really love? You didn't ask me among all the comedians. I'm a great comic follower. I love Kapil.
Sharma, right?
I love him, man.
Yeah, he's very funny.
He's very
I actually know people who work on that show. Maybe I can get you on that show.
Yeah, they've asked me actually, and we're,
Okay,
they couldn't
so you
find
don't
that.
need me then.
No,
That's
no,
good
I
to
need
know.
you. I need
Okay,
you.
okay.
Please fix it for me. Okay, but they have asked me. But please fix it if you can fix it faster. I love it because I want to do an act with him.
All right. Okay, we have a final question now because I think you have to rush. So two things. One is that how was it to perform in front of just like your Indira Gandhis or a Nelson Mandela? Like I can't even imagine that feeling. And this last one, you've been doing this for 44 years. Like what next in terms of what do you want to do? Is there still any goal that you want to achieve? Very cliche question. Very
Vote for when are you going to retire?
very
No, I'm
cliche
not
question.
retiring. I'm not retired. What's the
Why
word?
would you retire? I agree.
What does that
Yes,
mean?
this
Retire.
This is very
It's
rude.
rubbish.
Kamba.
I apologize. I
No.
apologize.
I think that word should not exist for people like us, because I think as long as you can make people laugh and smile.
Hey, as long as it doesn't feel like work, why would you want to leave it? You know what I'm
Correct.
saying?
Why? Yeah,
I
that's
agree. Yeah.
that's the thing. As long
Yeah.
it's beautiful to be. But singing in front of Indira Gandhi was just brilliant. She used to come to some of my shows in Delhi, and even Rajiv Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi used to come there. And when I say this, it sounds like I'm just dropping names, but actually they did. And I remember very clearly at one of the rehearsals that I was sound check like this, they were all there, and I asked Rajiv Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, why don't you come for the show in the night instead of just the sound check? And he said to me, I wouldn't be caught dead with all the politicians who are coming in the night. Can you imagine? So sad, huh? I mean, it was a political show. Not political, it was an Indian food festival that was being organized, and all the other big politicians were there. But yes, it's been absolutely brilliant, and I tried very hard to make a very nice speech in front of Indira Gandhi. But when I met her, whoa, I was just tongue-tied. When I presented her with my album, Beautiful Sunday. It was beautiful meeting with her.
What was the toughest show you've ever done, ma'am?
The
As
toughest-
comedians, we have days where just no one's listening, the bar is open,
Yeah.
the food is there.
Correct.
And an artist can't compete with hunger. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What has been like the weirdest and the toughest show you've played?
I think one of the toughest has been in Kerala. When I started, but now of course most people know about me, so they know what to expect as well. But it was very tough because they didn't believe in clapping after a song. So there I was, on a heavy note like that, and then
Just silence.
silence. Ooh. Then I would say, please clap.
Darling. And there's just silence.
Yeah, it's really crazy. But I was shocked. But then for me, one of my USP is really because I'm 100% honest and 100% natural when I'm on stage. So I just said it to them. I said, please clap, because if you don't clap, I won't be able to continue. It's you who make me. And truly it worked. It's been so. I don't make sensational copy. I don't make good copy because I don't have any sensational news to give you all. How much I struggled, and what a bad time it was. Most people like to do that, yeah. No, but
No, it's
life's
really-
been good
so,
to me.
Ma'am, you are a refreshing breath of fresh air.
Yes.
Love you.
In general.
Yes.
And what is the
agreed.
goal? I have some more goals, lots of goals unfulfilled. Like this is something that is happening to me, which is really amazing. People haven't seen, many people haven't seen this side of me that I could actually, what shall I say, correlate, or shall I say, relate with people like you who are, first of all, I mean, everybody knows that I've sung for so many generations, but to be with you, connect with you on a comic level, you know, people don't know about that. So they always expect, oh, she's different. But
Ma'am, we
hey,
have to work on a comedy collaboration. where we
Correct.
do
That
a
would be
That's what I want
fantastic.
to do.
show with music and
that's
stand
what
up
I
and
want to
everything.
do.
That would
That's
be
one
fantastic.
of my goals.
Please, everybody listen to this. Usha ma'am has just
Didi.
Usha Didi.
Didi has just accepted our offer to do a comedy show together.
Will we do that?
We will do
Fantastic. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And this is a public commitment. I really want to do
Fantastic.
this. Have you understood what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Completely?
Yes,
Are you
ma'am.
correct?
Yes.
Say correct.
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 Okay, can you sing with me now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Distance le
Moon
color
white
white illada, only once.
okay.
Only once. Okay.
When I'm showing two finger, you are doing twice.
I thought you were saying Channel V. I didn't.
Walk-e. Oh, say walk-e.
Walk-e.
Correct. I'm teaching you proper
Done.
Tamil. Okay?
Okay.
In front of O-K-A-Y, if you put W, it becomes Tamil.
Got it.
Ready? Walk-e. ah?
Walk-e.
And only once.
Got it.
Once.
Not God. Not
Correct.
correct in Jale.
Correct.
Okay. Distance ille.
Moon
Moon color.
white.
Super da. Super. Love you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
for
ma'am.
this, ma'am. See you guys next time. All right, that was Usha Uthup. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you guys had fun.
I hope you guys had fun and continue checking out the sketch show and come for the shows and let's meet soon on another podcast.
Hopefully with Baba Sehgal. See you guys
Hopefully.
next time. That's in the works. Cue music.